As much as there are questions surrounding the Seahawks and the season ahead, there's also a lot of optimism going into the first season with new head coach Mike Macdonald. The Seahawks have some key returning veterans and a lot of younger players who should create a good mix of talent for a team that could fly under the radar and surprise some people. We had a chance to sit down with some of the Hawks' top players this summer to talk about a number of topics on and off the field. We'll start it off with star receiver DK Metcalf.
It's kind of interesting to see what players do each offseason. Sometimes you change things up. Did you do anything different this offseason as far as your exercising, maybe boxing, yoga, anything like that?
No, sir. I kept my off-season schedule or program pretty standard, just by working out, running 100s, gashers, basically like a college workout, and maintaining my strength with basically bench press, power clean, squats, basically the normal stuff.
All that stuff throughout the offseason.
Yes,
Did
sir.
you give yourself a break after the season for a month or so?
Yes, sir. I take the whole month of February off and then start back March 1st.
Okay, so from what I've read about you, from 9th grade on, you're one of those guys who even after practice you go back out there and you like to get that extra work in. What gives you that motivation, that inspiration? What has been that drive for you?
Just not settling or just being comfortable with just going out there doing the norm. Always just try to push myself to do a little bit extra every time, just to make sure I'm getting better at something daily, whether that's either watching film, for 30 extra minutes or doing some extra reps after practice.
So it gives you that confidence to perform when you get out there. Like you've done everything you can before that game.
I wouldn't say confidence. I just think it's first knowing myself and just knowing that I know what it takes to, be DK Metcalf and, just not settling for basically the normal routine of, all right, the weight room says do 5 reps. I'm going to do 6 reps just to push myself the extra mile.
Okay, so this seems like an annual question for you, so forgive me if it's repetitive, but it was just last year where you told Kevin Garnett that you have 1 coffee, 1 meal, and 3 bags of candy a day. Did you change that at all, that diet?
Yes, sir, I did. I changed my diet. I eat twice a day now, slow down on the coffee and candy.
Okay, so how much of that influence comes from inside this building where they come to you like nutritionists from the Seahawks?
Oh, no, they can't tell me what to do like that. No. I'm still going.
Nothing like that, huh?
No, I'm going to do what makes me happy, and, I know myself better than anybody else. So, no, it just came from a lot of parents saying, oh, you're messing up my kid's diet, and my kid thinks he can eat candy all day. And I apologize to all the parents that, I messed up their kid's diet, but that was just something that I did.
Okay, that's interesting that it goes beyond
Right.
just you. You're kind of a role model when it comes to
Right.
diets. How about as far as entrepreneur? I hear a lot about you wanting to be an entrepreneur and things like that, maybe thinking pet life after football. Have you thought of anything, inventions, anything like that where you want to continue, pursue them?
Yes, sir. I'm not going to give away
I know you can't do that.
what I'm doing, but yes, sir, I'm invested in a few companies, tech companies, upcoming starting companies, and then just life after football. Of course, I started thinking about that like my 2nd, 3rd year. Because a lot of people don't make it to see past year 3 or 4, so I was just always preparing myself for the future just in case this football thing did not work out.
Okay, so right now in your head, do you have anything that you'd like to invent?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's already in the works. So
okay, so
we'll see. This upcoming season is when things should be finalized.
Okay, good. Look forward to that. How about as far as when you talk about life after football? I see you signed with SMAC Entertainment in the spring. So now you're with Michael Strahan's group. And why would you do that?
Just being different. Michael Strahan is a close friend of mine. He knows my uncle very well. So we've had conversations back and forth. Him and Constance Schwartz, who also is co-owner of SMAC Entertainment. And I've been knowing her for 2 years, and it just felt right. Like it was the right time to go make that switch and, prepare myself for life after football. Like you said, they got Michael Strahan, Coach Prime, and along with Tony Gonzalez as well. So they got a lot of retired, successful NFL players, and I'm just trying to, put my name, amongst them.
Is that more like production, like you want to be, not so much movies, but just be out there in a different type of media?
Yes, sir, correct. Like different sponsorships, to go along with, DK Metcalf as the football player.
Okay. You keep a lot of things close to the vest. When it comes to the podium, you always try to keep it tight. Answers are tight. Don't really reveal too much. Yet on social media, I see TikTok videos of you in the kitchen and doing all kinds of things. Is that the best way for you to reach out to your fans, you think?
I feel like it's a privilege to know who DK Metcalf is. Like you said, man, I keep it tight in the media because I don't trust a lot of people. Don't know what their intentions are behind me. Asking a lot of questions. So yeah, I keep it very surface level. But once you get to know who I really am, and I feel like my teammates get that privilege as well, just to know who I am, and vice versa, I get to know who they are to the core. Just to take off the helmet and just to know people for who they are and where they come from. I just feel like that's, something sacred and a privilege that, just comes with being a professional athlete or just being a person in general.
Yeah, I respect that a lot. You're at the podium, and I know you never tip your hand really for anything,
Right.
even though guys try. You ever post anything that you feel like it's a nothing, yet you post this great workout video, yet the nothing video gets a ton of views?
Right, yes, sir. I mean, that's the world we live in, man. I just take it to the chin and just knock it as that's the world we live in. People want to see, X, Y, and Z and not, the meaningful stuff. So, it doesn't make me any different. I'm still going to do it.
Okay, a couple more questions for you. So I love the pictures of you on TikTok where I think you have one called Glowing Up. It's a post where it shows you a toddler, lifting weights, all that stuff. Where did the interest in lifting weights come from? Was there one person that you ran across younger in life?
Oh, my pops. He was at work. He was a professional football player, so he got off work around 5, 6 o'clock, and during the off seasons and when he would get off of work, he would make me do push-ups or sit-ups, and we would just work out together. So I think that's one thing that where the workout passion came from. And then when we moved back to Mississippi, me and my pops would work out at Ole Miss together. It was just me and him, and I think that's where the drive came from of always competing and always wanting to work out and get better.
Okay, everybody sees you're built like an action figure. Is there a body part you're most proud of?
My mind. My mind. I feel like I'm a very smart individual. When it comes to just life or just being myself. I think I'm a very smart individual.
Man, if this was like a Mr. Universe interview, man, that would be a great answer. It's my mind. I'm sitting here going like a meathead thinking it's going to be something.
No.
Yeah, I like that. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I
Always good
appreciate
talking
you.
to you.
Yes, sir. You as well.
All right. Okay, Geno, there's been some great sound bites from you throughout the offseason, and one of them was Ryan Grubb comes in with this new offense, and you say, I'm seeing plays I've never seen before. Can you help the average fan understand better what that means?
As we all know, the college game is very innovative. And, at UW, this past season, and wherever Coach Grubb's been, I mean, he's been, just an innovative coach who's found new ways to attack defenses. He's always looking for new wrinkles and just helping us gain that edge as an offense. And so, just having a new coordinator, a new system, a new philosophy, just the way that he's doing things, and some of the plays, are plays that, we haven't seen at this level. And so without giving too much away, man, I think it's special to be a part of it, just with this offense, the players around me, like I said, the coordinator, the coaches that we have now. I just feel super blessed just to be in this position.
He says you and Sam have been just outstanding and awesome to work with, and that's a credit, Julie, back in the day where you were tagged as kind of a football nerd. Does that help you, having that kind of a study of all this new offense, help you kind of learn it faster?
Yeah, good thing for me is, I like to learn, I like to study, and so that's something that I do on a daily basis, and it does help you. Repetition is always going to be the father of learning, and so for me, it's just about continuing to do the little things like writing notes, taking detailed notes and just being on top of it every single day, and really paying attention to every single thing that Grubb says and just the way he wants things done.
Okay, let's take you back. You're talking about 12 years now in the NFL, so you've learned a lot of different offenses, played with a lot of different coaches. But back in the day when you first got into the league, number 12 was kind of your number, but the Jets had that retired, of course, for Joe Namath. So then you chose number 7. Is there a reason you chose number 7?
Yeah, it's very sentimental to me. My grandmother, she was born on June 7th. She passed on May 7th, my senior year in college. And so, as you said, I was number 12 pretty much my entire life up until that point. And then, I had to pick a new number when I got to the Jets, like Joe Namath, the number 12's retired. So I had to figure out a new number. And, 7, I just thought of my grandmother. She had passed the year before. And that number 7 just hit me right between the eyes. And so, I've been wearing number 7. I was number 3, when I was with the Chargers. But for the most part, 7's always been my deal.
Okay, so can I take that a step further? Is that why you named your son 7?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And G is the 7th letter in the alphabet, so he's still G Smith in a way.
Okay. You guys are out here now, and you're practicing used to practice in your red jerseys as quarterbacks. Now you're practicing in the throwback blues. You're playing game day jerseys out there and seeing a lot of that. Mike says he wants it to be more like a game day atmosphere every day.
Right.
Is it easy to buy into that?
Yes, it is. It is. Coach Macdonald is really straightforward, and another guy who's very innovative in his thinking and his thought process. And one thing that he's doing is he's thinking about the team. He's taking that leadership role on, and with what he's saying is we're preparing for the game in everything that we do. And so with wearing the jerseys, obviously, for me wearing the throwback, that's sweet. So I appreciate that. But just the mindset of we're preparing for a game. So every time we step on the field and every single thing that we do, treat it like a game. And then when you get to the game, you won't be surprised.
Okay, you've had some great plays throughout your NFL career. I think all of us have plays that play back in our mind from high school and college. And throughout your entire career, no matter what age you were, do you ever find yourself walking around one day and thinking about a play that sticks out, whether it was college, high school, or pro?
Yeah, I think I've gotten to the age now where my clips are throwback clips. So, I have NFL clips that are now throwback clips. So, I get a chance to see those, whether I'm on social media or anything like that. And then I have this thing like a photographic memory. I can literally remember every single play, almost every snap I've played in my entire life, down to little leagues. And I can remember the field, and I can almost remember the uniforms we wore. And I mean, it's just one of those things where when you played enough games, man, it's like it all runs in together. And so I just feel like I've been playing one big football game my entire life.
All right, let me ask you this. Is there a play you feel like you were lucky to get away with? Is there one that said, man, like even that, any play?
It's a lot of them, man. Shoot, man, and I'm happy. But, I recall one against the Rams, which was 2 years ago. It was our last game our last game in Lumen Field, and it was to get to the playoffs. It should have been a pick. The guy, was playing zone. He kind of fell off his man. I think I was throwing to Tyler Lockett. He caught it, took off running for like 2 steps, ended up dropping the ball. So it turned out to be incomplete. But, those little things like that are ones where, you're happy for those moments. But I've also had some where it hasn't gone my way. So I guess it goes both ways.
But there's a certain point where you earn it. You're like, hey, man, I've done a lot of good things. Thank you for giving me that one.
100%. And there's been plays where, I had a referee tell me about, the one where we had an intentional grounding in Detroit. And he was like, that was a bad call. And there's other chances where, I've thrown good passes that, have come up incomplete. And so it kind of goes both ways, man. Sometimes I throw passes to DK. I don't think he can make the catch. One-hand catch, you know what I mean? So it goes both ways for sure.
Okay, you bring up that referee in Detroit. You're complaining to him about he called intentional grounding. And he said, you're involved with, the reason I bring that up is because there's 2 sound bites last year that stick out. Yeah. That one where he says, I'm talking to America right now, excuse me. Yeah. And then there was another one when you took a snap and Aaron Donald came shooting through and you said, oh my gosh.
That wasn't me, but I'm not going to say who that was, but we need people to go back and clarify that so that we don't continue to put that on my legacy. But the one in Detroit for sure was legit. Shouldn't have been called. Intentional grounding, but they did. Luckily, we scored on that drive anyways.
Okay, so we've cleared that up, that you didn't say you weren't. It wasn't you.
Wasn't me.
That's awesome. So that's unsolved mysteries. It's now solved.
Yeah.
All right. So, but as far as the other sound bites and things, do friends and family call you and text you and say, hey, dude, what was that all about?
Not really.
No?
My family is kind of, they've known, about this type of deal for my entire life. They've been with me along this stretch. But, I do see it all over social media. I mean, I can't get away from it, man. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere.
All right. I got one last question for you. We take you back to the offseason. You posted the fastest time. You were on the board as the fastest offseason time for the Seahawks.
Didn't last long.
How'd that happen?
Well, I would say training. I would say I've been training. As soon as the season was over, I was very disappointed we didn't make it to the playoffs, and I really took it out on myself. I just beat myself up in the weight room, on the field, just trying to push myself, trying to push my body. They say I'm getting up there in age. I don't feel it, but, they say I'm getting up there. So to me, it's just a chance again to prove myself that I'm still getting better at this age. And although it didn't last long, man, it was a one-day thing, and the next day they all were running 22 miles per hour, which will show me.
Still, that's pretty cool, though. And it shows, we see on social how much you work out and how dedicated you are to it. So that, that's a guy who takes his off-season serious.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, man, we're looking forward to the next season. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Can't wait.
Okay, Jaxon, now going into second year in the NFL, can you tell me a little bit about how you thought your rookie season went?
First off, I just want to give thanks just for, just making it through a whole season healthy. Very proud of that. Very proud of how I approach, day to day, just to stay on the field, and my first long season, first NFL season at the highest level. So first off, just proud of that. Definitely a lot of room for improvement, and but I feel like I set a good foundation to improve and to be a great player in this league.
When you went into your rookie season, did you kind of hear from the veterans about how important it is to take care of your body to get through that long of a season?
Yeah, most definitely. I had, great examples, in the room with me, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, those guys do a great job of taking care of their body. And I was able to, pick their minds a little bit, ask them some questions about that, and make sure I got it done.
How about as far as you come in, you have Pete Carroll 1 year, next year, new head coach. How has this transition gone for you so far with the new coaching staff?
So far, so good. They have been great coming in. Pete Carroll, he was my guy. I miss him a lot. Very grateful. I was able to at least spend 1 year with him. But Coach Macdonald and the whole coaching staff have been great. A great attitude that I want to endure and have and play with, and I'm very excited.
You look back at your season, and you had some highlights, of course, some of your favorites, I'm sure. But I think one of the favorites for me is your one-handed catch on national TV against the 49ers. Is that one that stands out? Are there other ones that stand out for you?
Yeah, that one was a catch, I won't forget. I think my favorite catch, though, was probably Tennessee, fourth quarter, 3rd and 17. A play that we needed to make, and I think that was a play I felt more relieved on making.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that us as fans, pseudo-fans, so to speak, is that we're seeing touchdown catches, athletic catches. We think it's great. But for you, being the NFL elite athlete that you are, it's a clutch play during a game that people may not even notice.
Right, most definitely. I mean, those third downs and plays like that, and I think San Fran was also a third down too, but game was on the line there, and that's when, I love to make plays, and yeah, that was just a big one for me.
Okay, you made some great plays in college too. You're one of the fortunate ones to play in what I think is the greatest college football rivalry of all time, Michigan, Ohio State. What's it like to everybody who doesn't get to play in this game and step on that field? What's it like playing in that rivalry?
They say it's the biggest rivalry in sports. I would have to agree. Just the hate and the love that you get after the game, during the game, before the game is just unmatched. And the both times, I was only able to step on the field with them once and not to get the dub. That's definitely heartbreaking, but those games were fun. That was one of the most fun games I had. It sucks that ends with a loss, and it sucks very badly, honestly.
I'm sorry we had to bring that up.
It's hard to swallow, every time I talk about it, but that's the rivalry, and I'm a part of it, and I'm just, proud to be a part of it, honestly.
That's the cool thing, is you're a part of it, and you're also a part of Big Ten history. I mean, you have the single season record for most receiving yards, and over 1,600 in one season. When you look back at your college career, there's probably some things you wish you could get back as far as playing time, but you still have to have a lot of pride in the fact that you're in the Big Ten record books as well as Ohio State's.
Oh, most definitely. Records are meant to be broken, but I'm definitely happy. I set the standard a little bit higher, and happy. I was able to meet the people that I met to get me there. That's what it means. And the journey wasn't fully what I wanted, but I'm very blessed to be in this position.
Definitely. I mean, five-star athlete coming out of high school. You went to high school at Rockwall, which is near Dallas. You get a chance to go back and play in Dallas your rookie season. Yeah. You have a touchdown stolen from you.
Oh, my God. Worst call. For real.
We won't go into that, but the fact that you had 7 catches, 62 yards, you had a touchdown that should have been yours in front of a lot of family and friends, I'm sure. How cool was it to go back to Dallas and play that rookie season?
Yeah, that was a game, I just felt real comfortable. Just excited, something I dreamed of, literally, playing in that stadium. And, just felt real comfortable, had an awesome experience. Yeah, I got robbed of the touchdown. That was terrible. Man, that was terrible. But yeah, I mean, Dallas, it's always fun going back home. I hadn't played there since high school, so it was just fun to see everybody and see all the love and support that I had. And, you know, it's a special place in my heart for sure.
There are a lot of people that don't understand how big high school football is in the state of Texas. Can you kind of let people in on that?
I mean, you know, to me growing up, you know, that's what we knew, you know. I grew up with the same friends from elementary all the way to high school, and, you know, our dream at that time was to, you know, be like the guys playing on varsity football that they grew up with, and, you know, going down the state, you know. The community I grew up in, Rockwall, let alone, you know, really a lot of the state of Texas, you know, just the pride that they have, it means a lot to us, you know. It's a culture thing, they say, yeah.
Huge event on the weekend, and long
Friday
season
nights,
too.
Yeah, for sure. Friday nights, nothing like it.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
All right, so one last question for you. You're a young guy, but so this probably doesn't have to take you back too far, but was there a birthday gift or a Christmas gift back in the day that jumps out, maybe a toy or a bike or something that was your favorite gift as a kid?
I remember I was 3 years old, I want to say Christmas Day. You know, got my helmet, my first football helmet, shoulder pads. I got geared up for the first time, and, you know, I'm sorry, Mom, about the living room and the house. The knee football was crazy after that. But, you know, I remember putting that helmet on for the first time, for real. Yeah, and something I won't forget that one either. Yeah.
At 3 years old?
Yeah.
What team was it?
3, I had the little red practice jersey. They didn't even give me a team. I remember I had the red practice, little cotton jersey.
Gotcha. So it was a
no
generic
team.
football uniform,
Generic.
but that was enough.
Very generic. They didn't have a chin strap or nothing, just the shut, regular helmet.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. Okay.
All right, Julian, let's talk about this defense. There's a lot of talk about it's been retooled in the offseason. There's, of course, new coaching. Is it too early to describe the biggest difference between this defense and maybe last year's defense?
Yeah, I would say it's a little early, but it's obviously different schemes, different philosophy. The players, I think, are obviously trying to take that next step up individually. You can probably tell that from a player perspective. But schematically, you know, we're just adapting to who we have. I think we're just utilizing our personnel a little bit more and just really just trying to make the most of this thing and really kind of build it as one and just be more violent, be attacking, and just kind of develop that new Seattle culture.
Okay, what do you like so far about this defense that maybe your role will be in this defense?
Yeah, I like that it could be multiple. I think guys are learning different positions because it throws a lot at an offense when guys are lined up at different spots but might be doing similar things. And yeah, I think Mike is a great guy calling the plays. I think he is very in tune with situational football. And so he's calling plays in a certain time and he explains the why as he's installing these plays to us, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of that from the players, that he's real open with his communication and makes things really clear for you guys. And obviously a veteran like you can appreciate that.
Yeah, I always love it when somebody just kind of shoots it straight. And he's a guy who is saying that he wants to be asked those questions. He wants players to be curious because he better have an answer, is his words. And he says that, you know, if he doesn't have an answer for what we're asking, then it shouldn't be in the game plan, which is pretty unique. Coaches don't usually have that sense of humility to really be open and accessible in that way.
You had one of the great stories last year, of course, and I know you probably talked a lot about it over the last 6-7 months, but Noah was born, your son was born Friday, Christmas weekend. Yeah. Saturday you jump on a plane and go to Nashville. Sunday you play in the game. What was it like for you, and when you look back at that, do you constantly reflect on what a wild week that was, because you did not practice at all?
Yes, it was a crazy week. And then, yeah, going back a few more days, that Monday night game was the Philly game, and so I had a great game, got some accolades for that game. And it was really cool, I would say, because it allowed me to just kind of separate from all that was going on, you know, not get caught up in the hype of anything, and just really just be there for my family. And then the baby was born, and then I had my time, and then I realized I had to be back for my other family on Sunday. I know they needed me, and so it was crazy. It was a lot for sure. Not much sleep going on. Sleeping on that hospital couch thing was not ideal, but we made it happen, and thankfully this organization had my back in it all. I know that's not everywhere across the league, and I'm very grateful that everyone around here just had my back and allowed me to, you know, be first-time dad, as well as be a teammate.
And your wife allowed you to be, the family man, but also allowed you to continue with this great career you're having. And so that there was some flexibility there. But as you look back at that, that's a real character builder, isn't it? Like it's a test of you mentally and physically to be able to get through that kind of a week.
Yeah, I think, I just try to, my mindset last year was just to keep the main thing. When I'm, in football, when I'm here, whatever role I'm in, just try to be locked in, try to do the best I can, because it was changing week to week. And then when I'm home, just be attentive to my, at the time, pregnant wife, and be everything that she needs me to be. And so I don't know, it was freeing in a way, like I said, because I was where my feet were. As soon as I got home, I wasn't thinking about football. As soon as I was here, I was thinking about my wife, but I was locked into those plays and just trying to be there because my teammates needed me to be attentive. And it was tough at times for sure. And my wife is a soldier. She's very selfless, and every spouse in this profession is in that way because it's tough. It's, you're traveling almost every other weekend. You're here, the hours are kind of random, but everyone just had my support, and I'm just incredibly grateful for it all.
Okay, let's go back to your college days at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You went to Notre Dame football games with your dad as a kid. So when you got offered a scholarship, was that just a dream come true? Was it a no-brainer that you were going?
It was a no-brainer that I was going. Yeah, my dad took me. He's not from the Chicagoland area, is where I grew up, from Memphis. And so as soon as he got into Chicago, it's a huge Notre Dame culture over there because Notre Dame's pretty close by. It's about an hour and a half away. And he had some buddies, and they introduced him to the Notre Dame culture. And so from when we were born, very young, he's like, okay, I got to take my kids here. I got to take them to see these games. And so I'm there for a lot of big moments and a lot of big games as a kid, as a 10-year-old kid. And then, when it was the time came to decide on colleges, I remember I was sitting in Brian Kelly's office, amazed that I was even in that office. I was rising a little bit in terms of status, I guess, as a recruit. He handed me the offer, and I said, thanks, Coach. And I handed it right back to him. I said, I'm committed. I'm committing to your school. There's nothing higher for me right now. It's the best football I could have wanted. I love this place. And school-wise, it was everything I needed to further my academic career. And so it was just the perfect, it was very quick to say yes.
I love it, man, because I bet you Brian Kelly doesn't get too many of those. That's pretty cool.
I was the first to commit in the class, and so it was
awesome.
Really cool.
All right, so you set pass breakups record for a single season there, and I think you still hold that record.
Mm-hmm.
When you look back at those days, do you have a favorite highlight from your Notre Dame days?
It was just really cool. It's not really a football-specific memory, but my dorm was on one side of campus, and the football facility was on the other side of campus. And Notre Dame's kind of a game day atmosphere where people are showing up the day before the game. They're walking around, they're seeing all the sights, Touchdown Jesus, all that stuff. And I just always remember that walk from my dorm, Duncan Hall. It was like a mile walk to the football facility. Just that walk before game day was always so cool because you could smell the tailgating happening the day before. The campus is packed. It's not a big campus, but it was packed, and it was really cool. And I don't know, going back, I appreciate that atmosphere of Notre Dame football games. And then on the field, football's football. I loved it there, but just seeing the atmosphere and what it meant to people was always special to me.
Yeah. Your youth football camp continues to go strong.
Yeah.
Well, why so committed to the youth football camp and things like that?
When I was growing up, I went to a ton of football camps. And there was always a Bears guy, a local guy, but none of them were from the area ever. And so I thought it would be extra special that I'm from the area. Not many kids are coming out of that west suburban Chicago area for football. Not more so nowadays they are. And so I just wanted to be there. I just wanted to be a presence and to let somebody know that, hey, the guy who lives a few blocks over, the guy who is from here was able to do it. And I go back and it's completely free for the kids because I just want to just create a really cool atmosphere for them. I try to get as many professional college level players as possible because I think that boasts and that breeds a sense of, okay, like these guys are from here, they could do it, I could do it too. And so, just completed year 4, going on year 5, and each year is getting better and better. And about 300 kids this year, and so I'm extremely proud of what we were able to do over there.
I'll leave you with one kid's question. So let's go back to you when you were a kid. Was there a Christmas present or a birthday present that you really dug as a kid?
I grew up in a video game era, and so it was I got the Xbox 360. for Christmas one year, and it was like, oh my gosh, I have my own game, I have my own system, and it was mine, which was the big thing. I was gifted it. I have a brother, I have a sister, but it was my gift, and so I could control who was playing. I don't know, it was always cool, just all my cousins and everybody. You open up right away on Christmas and get to gaming or get to playing, and so we stayed up all night that night, just playing away, and it was cool because all my family was around.
Yeah, you must have lost your mind when you opened that thing.
Oh yeah, listen, we have a lot of cousins, and we all did it together, and so to get a big gift like that amongst everybody else was pretty special.
Cool.
Santa looked out for me, thankfully.
All right. Yeah. All right, Julian. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.
Let's talk about this defense first. There's been some retooling going on in the offseason. You're one of the veterans, the leaders, the mainstay on this defense. Where do you see them using you this year? Has it changed a little bit, the way they move you around?
Yeah, that's the perks of Mike's defense is guys can come from anywhere. You never know where guys are going to come from. We have a lot of different tools, a lot of different packages. So expect to see a lot of guys in a lot of different spots, and make the offense have to think. So.
And how has the adjustment been with the new coaching staff and learning this defense?
It's been good. It's definitely a challenge, because Mike's coming with that stuff. He wants to make sure that offenses have a lot to think about. So, it's a lot of things to prepare for, but everybody's been handling it really well, and we're growing as a team, and everybody's catching along pretty quickly.
How about as far as you go? 6 games into last season, you tear your pectoral, you have surgery, you're out, you go into rehab. How was the journey back?
Journey was a long process, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. Usually when you hear like season-ending injuries, you think the journey is going to be this long process, 6 months, 12 months in recovery. But, for me, luckily, just the pec, that's like 4 to 5 to 6 months recovery. And, I've had nothing but time and, good trainers to help me get back. So the process has been pretty smooth.
Had to be tough, though,
yeah,
watching these guys play the rest of the year and you can't get out there. And I always hear that rehab is lonely. Yeah. And it takes a different kind of discipline to get through it than it does to stay at this elite level of football.
Absolutely, absolutely. It takes a lot of discipline, countless hours of making sure, you're on your stuff, icing, massaging, strengthening, all different things go into it.
All right, let's talk about some stuff off the field. And one thing you're very proud of is, what you did back at your high school in Los Angeles, Narbonne High School. Yeah. Donated funds to build the Nwosu Athletic Center. Yeah. Recently opened. I want to read the quote, Uchenna, because I think it's really cool. Mm-hmm. You said, "This is probably my greatest accomplishment to date. Giving back to my high school has been so rewarding and fulfilling." Just how rewarding was it?
It was very rewarding, just to see the smiles on everyone's faces, knowing they have a place for student athletes can come in and, prepare themselves to be the best that they can in their sport. It's something I didn't have, when I was at high school. When I was in high school, I didn't have the training, the full-time trainer. I didn't have a medical room. I didn't have the ice I didn't really have any of those things. So to be able to be in the position to give back to those kids to where they can be the best that they can be in their sport, it's very rewarding.
When you first started to see your career escalate and you knew you were going to make it to the NFL and you started making the money that NFL players make, was that one of those things you said in the back of your mind that one day I'm going to give back this way?
Absolutely. And it wasn't even to a specific place. It's anywhere. I give back to youth and kids in my community. I give to my high schools. Like, it's any way I can do it. It's not just a specific person or place that I'm giving to. It's any way I can help out throughout my community.
Yeah, I think people see that when they see stories about you and just articles. You're always out doing something in the community. This was just a real big thing that you had on your mind. You took care of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you look at this team and these young guys that are coming in these days, is there a different level of the way these guys are adjusting to the NFL? It seems like the rookies are getting in quicker and adjusting and learning faster.
Yeah, just like you said, they're getting in quicker, they're learning faster, they're having more meeting times with coaches, which is very important for their development. They're asking all the right questions, they're very involved and engaged, and they're very humble too, which goes a long way for being a rookie. Show that you're humble, coming in ready to learn, and just want to grow as a player. So they're all doing the right things, and we're going to need them down the road this year.
All right, lastly, let's stay with the rookies. You posted the rookie receipt the restaurant receipt for
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me,
Okay, what goes into rookies buying dinner? Is it the defensive rookies at once, all the rookies at once? Tell me a little bit. Give the fans a little bit of insight.
So pretty much it's based on like your position groups. So like the wide receivers will have theirs, the O-line will have theirs, linebackers, DBs, like it's all split up. So, pretty much that was what we did. We had all the D-line and outside linebackers because we kind of all play together. And we went crazy. We big dudes, so we got to eat. So we
$22,000 worth of restaurant.
Hey, drinks, foods, desserts, to go. Like, hey, it adds up.
You get it to go too?
Oh yeah, to go bottles of wine, everything.
So it's not just the final bill of you guys enjoying one meal. You're going to take some stuff home with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever seen a rookie receipt like that before? A dinner receipt?
I've never seen nothing that crazy before. My rookie, I think my bill was like $5K.
Okay.
But it was split up between I think 6 guys, but still. But yeah, so it was a good penny.
Yeah, but you enjoyed it.
Oh, I enjoyed all of it.
And they took it for like champs, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They know.
They knew what was coming. They knew. They prepared. They got their minds right. But I wouldn't want to be in no shit. Inflation's
5,000 to 22,000.
Oh yeah.
Over the years, it goes up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming on, and we'll check with you in the fall.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right.
Let's do it.
Let's start the timer. All right, Boye. Let's first talk about you said the culture on this team is yet to be defined. Can you explain a little bit of that to the fans and what you mean?
We're finding ourselves. Like you said, there's a new team, there's a new coach, a new regime. So we really are figuring out what we want to identify as. And of course, we want to be the best. We're chasing greatness. So in that way, what does that look like for us? And that's the question we're answering right now, and we're figuring it out as we go.
Does it feel like as a defensive player, and you have a defensive-minded head coach, and you had one in Pete Carroll as well, but Mike comes in here with a different defense. Does it help you as a defensive player to have a defensive-minded head coach?
I mean, it's lovely. One of those things that you like as a defensive player. He's focusing on the defense. You have that time with him, and with their center focus on us, it helps us really get the details and really iron out. And he wants to make sure that this defense comes alive. So that's definitely helpful.
You talk a little bit about your off season because your window for vacation is so small in the NFL. But you had a chance to take your family to Belize, and that had to mean something really special to you. What did it mean to be able to take them?
It meant the world to me. It's one of the things that we've actually talked about. And even growing up, my dad used to take us on family vacations, across the country and different places, going to Florida, LA, and so I've seen a couple. We did that, and we had that tradition. So just as life has been getting crazy, and family grows up, people move away, people get jobs, and life gets real busy. So just being able to have that time to really come together and celebrate and spend time together, honestly, meant the world to me.
You can tell that you guys are tight as a family just from the draft night when everybody went crazy at your house and when you were picked. And it's fun to see all of that. So it's how important is it really for your growth as you continue as a young man to have that strong family connection?
I mean, it means the world to me. Every time I don't know what's going on or if I have a question, the people I lean on is my family. They're the first people I call, any question I have, or just being an adult in general. I had to figure out how to grow up and take care of myself and go through, from being a college student to now being an adult. They're the people I call and the people I talk to about any decisions that need to be made.
Okay, you talk about growing up, and I bring it back to I read a great article about your Nigerian heritage and the fact that you, as a teenager, went to Nigeria for a year, and you said it was really tough. But boy, it must have been incredible for your growth mentally and physically, huh?
100%. I feel like it's night and day, and the things that I grew, I learned respect. I learned how to work hard. I learned a lot of things of being on your own, and the things that in America may be different, and you have access and things like that. But in Nigeria, it's really family oriented. The culture is very strong there, regardless of family or not. The culture, you teach it through anybody in the community. It takes a village to raise a child, and they have that village mentality.
Your cousin said that when you came back, you were huge. I mean, you went from you got taller, heavier, more muscular. You come back, and he said, as you were the youngest member of your family, you're always the tough guy, and you never cried, and you left marks on the wall, and it didn't even bother you. How true is that statement?
I feel it's very true. I mean, it's one of the things that as a young child, I was probably 5 years younger than all my cousins and my siblings. So. I was always, if I wanted to hang out with the older crowd, I had to toughen up. And that's one of the things that if I wanted to be hanging out with them or have fun with them, I can't be the little kid that cries or that you can't hang out or play football with us or play basketball with us because you're not strong enough. So that's where that kind of built into me.
Yeah, you learned that at an early age. That's good. How much did that kind of an upbringing help you build your character as you went to Minnesota and developed your college football game and then now here in the NFL?
One thing I credit that to is honestly my father. Having him in my household, he really taught me hard work. He's taught me work in the dark, don't work in the light. And I always used to wake up and he run his own business and he could pick his own hours and he can work whenever he wanted to. But one thing I always remember and stood out to me honestly was when I'd get ready for school at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, he's already in his office, crunching numbers, on the phone, working. And he did that day in and day out. And I just always noticed that he wasn't a person that really does his work in this light. He didn't need people to see him doing his work. He didn't need to see people how hard he worked, but he just did the work that was needed. And when I got to college, it translated, and I took that to heart. And when I went to football, I'd go to practice, and I'd have my time by myself, and I'd find times when it would just be me on the field or me by myself working out or working on my game. And that translation of him showing me that he worked in the dark, I took it to heart, and I pride myself on working in the dark and not working for the cameras or the whatever that comes with it, but just to do the work because it's needed and that's what's necessary.
Yeah, work in the dark, not in the light. I like that. I've never heard that before. One last question for you. Your sister likes to make fun of you when you were a kid because you were so rambunctious and running around, and she said you even made a WWE heavyweight champion belt out of cardboard, and you ran around saying you were the WWE champ.
Oh, for sure.
So how much fun was that? Just like, that must be a great memory for you just as a child.
For sure. My dad probably hates it, but I used to make him all the pay-per-view fights, and I try to get those on the TV, and I used to love WWE and watching that, and I'd try to emulate that. I remember I used to be in the living room, I'd set up some pillows and blankets and create my little ring in the house, jumping off the couches and messing around and acting as if I won the match. That definitely was a memory for sure.
You still watch it on Mondays and Fridays? Like, do you watch any of that?
Sadly, I grew out of it, so
okay.
Not too much anymore, but I definitely was a fan.
Now you do it on the field.
Exactly.
All right, Boye, thanks. Appreciate it.
Mike Macdonald led a strong offseason for the Hawks as the coaching staff and the players got to learn a lot about each other. Expect this team to only get better as the season goes on, and hopefully there'll be a playoff berth in January.
Okay, Coach. So over the last few months, the players have done a lot of learning. How much have you learned as a first-year head coach?
A lot, to say the least. We told the guys yesterday after practice, we walked in here April 8th, and you guys didn't know us, and shoot, we didn't know you, but like just the feeling that we have right now should give us a lot of confidence that how far we've gone the last few months. So it's been a great ride, though. I mean, it's been fun to learn the guys and see what makes them tick. And to their credit, they've responded to everything we've asked them, and that's why we're sitting here today and not practicing.
Well, I mean, you talk about the guys and learning the guys. You've got to learn your own coaching staff. You've had them come from all points, basically. None of them have worked in this kind of capacity all together at once. Is there anything you're doing off the field as far as team building with coaches and learning?
There's been quite a few dinners and hangout time, but it's tough because a lot of the families are either they're here or they're on the way here. So some coaches were kind of going back and forth to see their families on weekends. So we've adjusted our schedule, to try to accommodate coaches to be able to get with their families as much as possible. So there are some opportunities to do it. We're looking forward. We'll do some more when they get back from break, but really happy with our group. Just really proud of the guys. I told a lot of the coaches yesterday, just thanking them that, hey, to take a chance on this, operation, not knowing me, and just kind of going in head first, and moving their families out west, and just really cool that they had faith in our process and what we believed in. So I think we're on our way.
That's a cool message, though, to let those guys know how much you appreciate taking a chance.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's definitely taking a chance, but I think it's paying off.
Yeah. How about Leslie Frazier? Here's a guy who's got over 4 decades of experience. But I want to ask you, with his experience, what does that mean, and what does he mean to you as a first-year head coach?
Well, it gives me a lot of confidence, So we're constantly bouncing ideas back and forth on how we want to operate, and he's reminding me of things that maybe I might not have thought of already, or looking around a corner and telling me this is what's about to come up. But it gives you confidence on the things that you're doing. You say, hey, are we on the right track here from your experience? And he tells you the truth, man. He's a man of integrity, so I give him a lot of credit on that. But we have a great relationship.
That's what the players seem to say about you, too, is that you shoot straight. There is no gray area.
I don't think I'm like smart enough to like distract you and go one way or the other. I kind of just have to tell you what's on my mind and how we see it. But I think players appreciate that, you know, just tell them the way it is, tell them what you expect, be open to their feedback and understand where they're coming from and try to kind of see it from all angles. But I think that's really important, you know, that you have that kind of type of communication with your players. And you'll save a lot of time, too, if you kind of cut to the chase.
Yeah, well, I think they appreciate that. And I know that they've talked a lot about your smarts. And the word nerd has come out, too, as well.
I'll take nerd as a compliment. I mean, it's I guess that's kind of endearing. But in my mind, it's as coaches, our job is to help the players. And so the best way I can't go do it for them. I never did it physically. So to try to find some edge that can put them in a position where they feel like they can go play in a way where they can be productive and have success, then, you know, that's what gets us going as coaches, and that's kind of the spirit of how we want to build our coaching staff and how we want to coach our guys. So sounds like the message is getting through, which is good.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like, I've heard all those guys talk, read all their quotes, listened to them, and the feedback's just tremendous. So
that's good.
So when you look at yourself as a head coach, Mike, some coaches will sleep in their office. They'll stay there at all hours. Others will keep a regimented schedule and make sure they have some kind of balance. Which kind of coach are you, or which coach do you kind of want to be?
Well, past like 9:30, my brain does not work. If I'm making decisions at night, look out. It's not good for the Seahawks. So I'm cooking right after a workout in the morning. My mind is firing all cylinders. That's when I'm at my best. So the message to the rest of the coaches, too, is like we have to understand our processes, be really efficient. However you work best is how I would like you to operate. So, you know, if you like working at night, coming in a little bit later, that's cool. You want to be with your family, like we'll work around our schedules to make sure guys are working their best, but we don't want to be burning the midnight oil. We need our sleep. We need to be fresh. We need to be our best when we're around our players. So that's going to be really important, but it's a little bit flexible. But I think you should have your process should be efficient enough. Trust me, there's plenty of time in the day. There's plenty of great people around here where we can be on our stuff, be detailed, do it the right way, but also, you know, be efficient so we can go spend time with our families.
All right, you bring up your families. You and Stephanie have been basically East Coast your whole lives. Now you pick up and you move out here. What has that transition been like for you as a family?
Well, once you got here, it's been great. You know, when she wasn't here, that was tough for a while. It was a couple months. Her finishing up, you know, her singing at our church, and our dog passing away. That was a tough transition. But once she's been here, it's been awesome. I mean, it's been great. It feels like this is home. We haven't been able to get out in this community as much as we'd like, but I think that, you know, this summer, you know, will serve us some time where we can get out and see the city a little bit more.
Will there be a time where, because I know, knowing what you just talked about, your schedule since you got here, will there be a time this summer for you to kind of celebrate the fact that you are a first-year head coach in this great organization?
I don't know if I'm celebrating it, but I mean, it's a blessing, and it's such an awesome responsibility, and the process, like the dream is in the journey, you know. So like we're just going through it, and we're having a great time. We love meeting all the 12s out there, all the fans, and you know, I mean, we're not like the most social butterflies of all time, but you know, we'll be out on a hiking path near you. And if you see us, and don't be afraid to stop us.
Okay, but come on, man. There's got to be more than a hiking path. There has to be a trip somewhere. Like,
yeah.
You guys have a special vacation plan. You don't have to tell me where, but
well, so in the past, because we're on the East Coast, we'd go to Europe the last couple of years. We've been to Greece. We've been to Italy. That's been cool. But we're not going to take like an extent. It'll be I think we're going like 4 nights down to a warm city south of here. To play at Coy.
Okay, no, that's perfectly fine. It's none of my business. It's nobody's business what you do. But it makes me feel good that you're going to take some time and take a trip and take some time to yourself.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be good to get away.
You know what the grind is when you get back.
We timed it up just so when people said like right after July 4th is the absolute perfect time to be here. So we'll time it up so we're back in time for the 4th, and we're looking forward to the summer in Seattle. We're looking forward to that.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to the season, Mike. So great talking to you, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Great. Thanks a lot.
All right.